Krishna. A recent statement given by one of our union ministers, Mr. Satyapal Singh, has created a turmoil and a big storm in the community of academicians and scientists. He has said that Darwin's theory was wrong, the theory of evolution is totally wrong, and it needs to be removed from the syllabus of the students. Actually, let us see more aspects of this theory of evolution. So I am going to share few points with all of you. First of all, there are mental models and then there are universal principles. Mental models means how we perceive things. It's a worldview of our perception, that is called as mental model, and mental model may change, it varies from person to person. And there are universal principles which are constants. Just to give an example of a universal principle, Newton's law of gravity is a universal principle. Anywhere you go on the planet, throw any object up, it has to come down. That is a universal principle, accepted fact by almost all the scientists. Mental models are subjected to change according to time, place and circumstance. Just to give an example of a mental model, in the year 1808, Mr. Dalton proposed a theory of atoms which was called as Dalton's atomic theory. And the very first postulate of Dalton's atomic theory was that atom cannot be further subdivided. Johnson came and who discovered electrons. Later in the year 1911, Mr. Rutherford came and he gave a theory and he said that atom can be further subdivided and it is made up of protons and there is a nucleus. In the year 1913 again, Mr. Bohr came, one of the students of Rutherford, and he said that there are electrons which are orbiting around the nucleus. So basically this theory was constantly changing, atomic model, and now what today we have, the theory of atomic model, is the combination of all this. So basically the point is that mental models are subjected to change and universal principles are constant. Darwin's theory fall in the category of mental models because not all the scientists believe in the theory of evolution. Darwin's theory has got many flaws. I am going to share with you two prominent flaws which are there in the Darwin's theory. The very first one is the scientific flaw and the second is logical flaw. Science is a subject of knowledge wherein we systematically, analytically and logically find out how things function in the universe. Any theory to be called as a scientific theory, it has to follow these four steps. Step number one, you have to have some observations and you need to record those observations. Number two, you have to make a hypothesis based on these observed facts. Third, you have to conduct an experiment and check it whether the hypothesis made is correct based on the conclusion of this experiment. And the fourth, repeat the experiment n number of times so that there is no further discrepancy between the theory proposed by you and the observations. Now, if you just study Darwin's theory of evolution, it does not fulfill this criteria which is proposed by a science. There are no observations made. We have never seen any living entity evolving into another living entity. There are no experiments performed, and therefore, according to the protocol of science, Darwin's theory of evolution is not scientific. So how can we believe such a theory which is non-scientific according to the protocol of science? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.